Let's get one thing straight from the start. When we talk about your employer brand, we are not talking about your company's logo. We aren't discussing the color palette you use on LinkedIn. Those things are part of your corporate identity, the uniform your company wears. But your employer brand? That is something much deeper. It's your company's character. It's the sum of every single experience someone has with your organization, from the moment they first hear your name to the day they might leave. And even beyond that, it is what your team members whisper to their friends about their day at work. So what is it really? Think of it as your reputation as a place to work. It's built on the promises you make and, more importantly, the promises you keep. It's reflected in how you treat people during the interview process, how you onboard new starters, and how you support your team's growth and well-being. It's the culture that lives and breathes in your hallways, your Zoom calls, and your Slack channels. It's the answer your employees give when their family asks, "So what's it really like working there?" Your brand is not what you say it is. It's what they say it is. And that is a fundamental truth we cannot afford to ignore. Let's imagine two companies. Company A has a stunning website, a slick logo, and talks a big game about being a family. But behind the scenes, managers are unsupportive, burnout is rampant, and the hiring process is cold and impersonal. Company B has a simpler website, but it lives its values. It offers genuine flexibility, invests in training, and ensures every single applicant, successful or not, is treated with respect. Which company do you think will attract and keep the best people? It isn't a trick question. The lived experience will always win out over the polished veneer. This isn't just a nice to have, it's a strategic imperative. A single bad experience can be shared on Glassdoor, LinkedIn, or X in minutes, reaching thousands of potential candidates. People don't just want a job, they want to be part of something meaningful. They want to be part of a culture that respects them. They are interviewing you just as much as you are interviewing them. Forgetting this simple fact is the first and most costly mistake any leader can make. Your employer brand is the foundation upon which your entire talent strategy is built. Ignoring your employer brand isn't a passive choice. Think about it this way. When your reputation is poor, you have to work so much harder to get people in the door. It's like trying to push a boulder uphill. A study by LinkedIn found that a negative employer brand can cost a company at least 10% more per hire. That's a significant chunk of change that could be invested in innovation, training, or rewarding the great people you already have. It's a tax you pay for not paying attention to your culture and your people. It's a completely avoidable expense, but the costs don't stop at recruitment. A weak brand leads to high turnover. People join with high hopes, perhaps swayed by a slick recruitment campaign, only to find the reality doesn't match the advertising. They become disengaged, their productivity drops, and eventually, they leave. You aren't just losing a person, you're losing institutional knowledge. Team morale takes a hit and you're back to square one, spending more money to fill the same role. It's a painful, expensive, and demoralizing cycle. Consider the hidden costs too. When your best people leave, they often don't go quietly. They take their talent, their experience, and their network with them, sometimes directly to your competitors. A strong employer brand acts like a magnet for talent. A weak one acts like a sieve. This is the reality of the modern workplace. Top performers have options. They have choices. If your brand is sending out the wrong signals or no signals at all, you are invisible to the very people you need to attract. The best talent won't even apply. Let's talk about something incredibly common but incredibly damaging: a terrible application process. We've all been there. You find a role that looks perfect. You spend hours tailoring your resume and writing a thoughtful cover letter. You navigate a clunky, outdated portal that feels like it was designed in 1998. You hit submit and then silence. Weeks go by, nothing. You've been ghosted. Every ghosted applicant is a crack in your brand's foundation. If this is how you treat people when you're trying to impress them, what must it be like to actually work there? That's the question every candidate asks. Your broken application process becomes a public advertisement for your company's inefficiency and lack of care. It's a self-inflicted wound. Another damaging trend is the rise of so-called ghost jobs. These are positions that companies post to give the impression of growth, to test the talent market, or simply because they forgot to take the listing down. Candidates invest their time and emotional energy applying for a role that doesn't actually exist. When the truth comes out, it breeds deep cynicism and distrust. It makes your company look disingenuous at best and deceitful at worst. Honesty and transparency are not optional. Fixing this doesn't require a massive budget. It requires empathy. Put yourself in the candidate's shoes. Is your application mobile-friendly? Can it be completed in a reasonable amount of time? Do you communicate at every stage, even if it's just an automated message to say an application has been received? Do you provide closure to those who aren't successful? These small acts of respect and communication transform the experience. They show people you value them, regardless of the outcome. This is how you turn every applicant, even the unsuccessful ones, into advocates for your brand. How do we move from a brand that costs us to one that builds us? Well, it starts with one simple, powerful concept: authenticity. You cannot create a great employer brand with a marketing campaign. You have to build it from the inside out. The first step is to define your employer value proposition, or EVP. This is the heart of your brand. It's the unique set of benefits and rewards that an employee receives in return for their skills, capabilities, and experience. But it has to be real. Don't say you value work-life balance if your leaders are sending emails at 10 p.m. Be honest about who you are. Once you know what makes you unique, you need to communicate it effectively. Share the good, but also be open about the challenges. Use your social media channels not just to post job ads, but to tell genuine stories. Showcase your people. Highlight a day in the life. Share a team success. Let the world see the real culture, not a polished corporate version of it. People are drawn to authenticity. Your greatest brand ambassadors are already on your payroll. They are your employees. When your own team members voluntarily share positive stories about their work, their colleagues, and the company culture, it is incredibly powerful. It carries more weight and credibility than any corporate message ever could. Your employer brand is not a short-term project. It is a long-term investment in the future of your company. It is the core asset that will determine your ability to attract the next generation of leaders, innovators, and problem solvers. Your employer brand is your foundation. It's what holds everything together when times get tough. A strong brand helps you weather economic downturns because your people are committed. It helps you pivot and innovate because your team trusts your leadership. A great employer brand isn't just good for business, it is the business. Invest in it, protect it, and watch your company flourish.